A businessman, YouTube star, and a lover of extreme sports. Just some of the ways Ken Block has been described after his death in a snowmobiling accident in Wasatch County yesterday.
This year's race is not only a competition, but also a tribute to Block.
Mom of three and professional rally driver Lucy Block will be making history this weekend. Not only will she be making her hill climb debut, but she will be driving in her late husband Ken Block's honor.
Being in motorsports and being from Utah and having Ken, right up the street it was only natural that we'd be working together on some level.
Ken Block, the man needs no introduction.
I've had an opportunity to be a stunt driver for Ken where he was maybe double booked. I did some Ford commercials in his place. We did a Focus RS SEMA build for Ken. We did a number of filming events out of the proving grounds, something for the GYMKHANA files. We did the taxidermy out there with him and Steve Arpin.
No, he actually hopped on the back for a minute, but you were going quick, and he bailed off. It was like the high-speed run.
We tested Raptor tracks versus Can-Am on tracks. He really lent me and a lot of other people in the industry a lot of opportunities.
We've been talking a lot about kind of what's the next evolution of the Sierra car.
The concept of having an EV powertrain has been on the list.
As we started to prepare for the motorsport season in 2023, it became kind of a situation of like, well, who should we put in the car?
Both Ken and I did not summit last year at Pikes Peak, and now he wasn't going to have the opportunity to summit this year. So what's the next best thing? It's Lucy. The hardships that she had just endured, I wasn't quite sure if Lucy was in the right space to take on that challenge. But she rose to the occasion, and it was not even hesitation from her. She committed to it on the very first day.
It was incredible that we were going to have Lucy Block involved in this new electric Sierra car program.
I think given the timing of it, was like, it was a lot of mixed feelings. It was right after Ken's passing, and Ken, at least in my life, had definitely an impact in terms of making the decisions that I'd made and where I ended up.
Thinking about the influence that Ken Block had on motorsport, on all of us, everybody in the shop, we all have stories about how Ken Block, in one way or another, got us enthusiastic about motorsports and driving.
NBC reported it was a car Ken hoped to set a record in. Now, that pink Porsche is preparing to go back up Pikes Peak, this time with Ken's 16-year-old daughter Leah behind the wheel. Leah's trek up the 156 turns will be an exhibition run, a drive paving tribute to her father.
It was kind of the kickoff to Peak Week with the most beautiful sunrise I've ever seen at Pikes Peak. There was something magical about the clouds coming in and the sun just glowing up the whole sky. It was incredible.
And it just gave me warm fuzzies. I just felt like this whole week is gonna be like this sunrise, just beautiful and perfect and long awaited.
Lucy was really, really enjoying the car. There were a couple things that we were doing programming-wise, but again, the nice thing about the electric is that it's really easy to change the complete feel of the car. And so luckily, again, during the testing before, we got the car mostly dialed. So for Lucy, this was mostly just seat time and practice and learning the mountain.
My first reaction was, we're selling everything, we're done with everything. And then a week later, 2 weeks later, I was like, well, what am I talking about? What are we gonna do? We love rally and it's part of our family, and why wouldn't we just do it?
We moved into day 2 of practice, and it was quali day.
With Lucy being a rookie, she has to qualify. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad, she just has to get a time.
Are you ready?
Are you ever ready?
Yep.
She would come down from practice and all she could talk about was wanting to drive faster.
I think day 2 is tricky because while qualifying went like decently well overall,
We go and we do a bunch of mathematics.
with all this power available now, she was also getting the tires to burn out easier. She was running into certain limits here and there that we had to kind of come back and manage, which took a bit of extra effort to kind of work through that.
That's going to be the big thing. Get her to the top. Like, we'll look at the logs, we'll see. I mean, it's getting hot, we're giving her all the juice. And so we're finding the limit of what woman and machine can do. I know she had spent every available moment after practice driving up and down that road.
Multiple days in the rental car. We're talking like 6 hours at a time, just making mental notes.
There's no substitute for just time driving up Pikes Peak.
I know when he set his mind to do something, he would wanted to do it, and he was going to study and do all he could to make it happen in his own ability, Yeah, I mean, he would start preparing for a rally. Even he's already raced that event, he would start preparing for that rally, 3 weeks prior to the event.
What we didn't anticipate was the weather rolling in and putting a damper on our 3rd day of practice. So
Unfortunately, we woke up, we got all ready, we drove up to the gate of Pikes Peak just to find out that then that day's practice was canceled.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm coming to you not live from the bottom section of the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb, where, as you can see, Taylor is wiping our car down on a trailer because it's pouring rain and foggy and disgusting. So we're going to go home and go back to sleep and reschedule qualifying for tomorrow.
It turns out that the organizers just kind of took all the events from that day and just shifted them back to the last day of practice, which was Friday.
roll into Friday, into the middle section, and the weather had cleared up. It was in pretty good shape. Lucy takes off for her run.
There was some confusion at the start line where the guy that was flagging Lucy to go didn't really give us a chance to turn on the siren. You can't hear them coming, and so they require all the cars to have this alarm essentially as they drive to the mountain.
And I thought, no, we've made it this far and she can't complete the middle section. What's going on? I had no idea.
Come to find out, there were a couple of electrical issues, and so she kind of stalled out a couple times on the mountain.
Despite any obstacles that come up, you must make practice. It was very important that she completed each section of the race course leading up on race week. Otherwise, you can't take the green flag if you haven't practiced that section.
I think the biggest challenge out here has just been that we're constantly updating software, and we've run into some thermal issues at the beginning of the week, and we've been slowly working through all these little bugs. I mean, just like any other product, 80% is the easy part, 20% is the hard part. So we're getting to about 90-95% right now, and we're working through all the kinks.
There was kind of just a quick regroup. Let's just kind of make sure that we have a couple of these processes in place, just to make sure that, again, the siren's on and everything's going. But dude, those sirens are so annoying.
Able to get the siren turned back on for the next practice run, and she did it.
Thank you so much, I appreciate it. It's so annoying.
Lucy is qualified to hit it on race day. She finished the middle section, so she checked off all 3 sections, so she gets to take the green flag. Now all she has to do is drive to the summit. She is smiling unbelievably big, and that just makes me so happy. So great day for her here in the middle section at Glen Cove, and I cannot wait to see her at the summit on race day. I was much more stressed for her than I was for my own driving and my own performance. Well, congrats, Lucy. We did it. Made it to race week. All sections done. You qualify for race day. We'll play La Cucaracha on the way back down. Once she completed all 3 practice sections, that was a mega win. Saturday, it's setup day. We go out and we test the cars. I test the diesel thing. It's better, it's good, let's get it on the mountain. And Lucy came out, tested the Echo. We run that. Hoonipig ran, that was awesome. Everything was going great until it wasn't.
As we go to pull the car out of the garage, the car drives out of the garage onto the driveway, and then everything shuts off.
My heart sank.
We have essentially just entered absolute worst case scenario.
Time was up. That car needed to be on the mountain. You have to fix it on the mountain. It has to stage before the race.
This week has gone by perfectly, and we were joking that every time we were talking about how smooth things were going, we were knocking on wood.
We loaded a non-running car into the pits at Pikes Peak and just said, hey, I hope these 2 dudes really actually know what they're doing and can get this thing sorted. What if we didn't have the sensor? What if we didn't have the connector? What if we didn't have the fitting?
Are we gonna have to swap out the motor? Are we gonna have to change out the batteries? Like,
a simple single piece item could have taken us out of running the race at all.
Our race car is not racing.
I remember Lucy checking in on us being like, hey, how's everything going? There's this really awkward answer of, well, your car doesn't run.
Ryan and Alex were able to jump into it, and Ryan was able to find the issue.
I get a text 10:30 at night. I should have been sleeping, but I couldn't sleep because the car wasn't working. I was super stressed, but Ryan said 10:30 at night, hey, we got the thing running. So that gave me enough confidence to actually close my eyes and fall asleep and wake up for race day.
Well, actually, when he asked me if he could race Pikes Peak, he said, I want to race Pikes Peak. This is what we're going to do. Are you okay with that? And that's where the whole just don't die thing came out. Because that's what I said. I said, it's fine, just don't die.
While it is a sports event, today's competition is no game. This is an arduous automotive ascent skyward to 14,110 feet, a navigation of 156 turns along nearly 13 miles of serpentine cliffside roads.
I wish the entire world could have been there to kind of feel the atmosphere.
This is the 101st running of the Broadmoor Pikes Peak International Hill Climb presented by Gran Turismo.
What we have behind us is 4 cars ready to hit the start line and drive all the way to the summit. So behind me we have Frank the Tank, we've got the Sierra Echo, the Hoonipig, and the Sierra Alpha. All of us are friends, we're all pitting together, and we cannot wait to get to the summit and hang out.
This was the best weather that we've seen on race day for a long time. Everything was just falling into place to be an absolutely perfect day.
There's this really strong level of camaraderie.
It's a rad group of people. We're all friends outside of racing, and it's kind of, we all live in different parts of the country. Most of the time it's hard to get together unless it's at a race, but our friends and family were there. It was just a gathering of beautiful humans, unlike any other gathering I've ever been a part of. And here we are at the starting line of Pikes Peak. I can tell you that I had less stress, anxiety, and pressure on this race day than any other race day that I've ever experienced. And I had more at stake on this race day than at any other time in my career of running at Pikes Peak. First up on deck was Texas Dave in the Alpha. He qualified quicker than all of us. Got to kind of spend some time with Dave before he buckled in the car and took off on his run, and it was shaping up to be a fantastic run. Behind him was me. I was in the diesel GTR, and we had a time to beat, and that was 11:24. That was the target. I nursed the thing to the top, and we ended up at 11:06, I believe is the time.
Did it out here at the summit. Frank the Tank is here. Really want Lucy to make it up. Really want Leah to make it up. Texas Dave's here. Can't ask for much more than 4 people summiting. So waiting on that right now. They just cleared some bighorn sheep off the course, and they're going back green again. So can't wait to see what happens.
I feel like I'm kind of a veteran at Pikes Peak, being there for 8 years, and it's still stressful. There were definitely some concerns about getting Lucy to the top. This is a brand new system. We don't really know what the final outcome is going to be, and at some point we're kind of crossing our fingers. Knowing the emotional expectations of what we're accomplishing this year by trying to get multiple blocks up the mountain together at the top, it was at points emotionally overwhelming, and you could feel in our pit space how special this was.
Oh, I love you, Mommy. I love you, baby. You got it.
We were lucky enough to have the whole block family there with us, with their closest friends and colleagues, and It was very emotional coming up to the time when Lucy and Leah got to drive.
Hey, Kira, can you reach in? Can you reach in and get my gloves?
Yeah, the book's ready. Good. All right. That talk is done.
When I think about these moments and taking the start line, it's a Sunday drive. And the reason I think about it like that is because I'm not trying to push out of my element or do something that I haven't already been doing. I get in the car and I drive it to the summit, and I'm gonna drive it naturally as quick as I can go. The second you try to drive faster, you're thinking about driving fast, you're out of your element, you're out of your zone, you're out of that moment.
It's time. Look at all the fans waiting and watching.
No, this is a fan favorite. The livery on that car is great. We see Leila there going and giving her mom some props and getting ready to go tackle the mountain. She's been having a blast in that thing. It's about go time. Nerves are high as always.
It is always hard to strap your driver into this car that we've made, and essentially once she leaves the start line, it's kind of out of our control.
It's our Lucy block though. Green flag on Lucy's run up the mountain to 14,110 feet. It all starts here.
It's going to be fun to watch this one. This car makes a ton of power. They've got really good Yokohama tires on that thing. Obviously, Lucy's just been building her confidence. This is so much different than a stage rally in so many ways, where you got to memorize the road rather than relying on that co-driver. So that was one of the things she said. It's different than trying to memorize the road and trying to have your co-driver tell you where to go.
Here's Lucy Block, though, continuing her climb to the top of America's mountain and switching back in some of the most picturesque mountain roads in all of North America.
Where it's going to start to shine. I mean, we see that second split that Lucy laid down, 2:36.9. That's a really quick time. You look up pretty high up where we have here, like the top 20, 25 cars. That's about where she's going to need to be. First split, she was a little slower than where some of those other cars were, but from here on up, I think that car's really going to start to perform really, really well.
You only get kind of a snapshot of the car as it moves its way towards the summit.
Watched her making her run up. She had great pace. She was doing really good.
There's Lucy coming into Olympic.
And And Lucy Block climbing the mountain, dropping the right rear tire over the edge. And Lucy Block, final couple of corners.
We hear the siren coming up and we look over and there it was.
Checkered flag waving for Lucy, and across the stripe, completing the 101st running of the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb.
She set one of the fastest Sierra times ever, you know, beat every arch 3 times that had been put up there. Getting Lucy to the top was a very big deal and very emotional and very gratifying. And there was one more piece of the puzzle that we all needed, and that was waiting for Leah to close it out. So at the conclusion of race day, they sent Leah as the last car as a tribute to her father.
Seeing Leah climb into the car, and literally everybody is watching this moment.
The Hoonigans roars to life, and the door will shut with the number 43 on the side. And in just a moment, it will begin a symbolic trek up the 12.5-mile, 156 turn course. And there is the green flag for Leah Block.
It was, again, incredible to see the love and the support from everybody there, showing tribute and their love to the family and to Ken Block.
This has just been an exceptional day as we close this out with this symbolic climb up to 14,110 feet. And the pictures, the photographs, the footage that will come out of this run up the mountain, I think are going to transcend not just this year, but decades and maybe centuries as this event continues into the future. Leah Block, the final few corners through Olympic in a Herculean climb to the top with Ken Block on the roof, but Leah behind the wheel. The Hoonigans will climb to the top of Pikes Peak, 14,110 feet, and the climb is complete.
Upon her arrival, Mom was the first person there.
Welcome to the summit, Leah.
Hi, babe. We did it. We did it. Are you ready to get out?
It was a very beautiful thing to witness, very human. You know, we're just kids playing with cars, but there's a lot of the human aspect and emotion that goes into these projects, and this is the most amount of emotion I've ever had, you know, invested in a single race event, and I doubt it will ever be matched in my lifetime. I know that they're going to continue to triumph and succeed and push forward and press on regardless, and that's a beautiful thing. And I think everybody that was there was fighting their own battles, and they knew that they would never understand the battle that they had been fighting.
Everything up to that point had been just kind of physical and emotional preparation for this tribute to Ken Block and everything that he's done for all of us.
Running the Broadmoor Pikes Peak International Hill Climb presented by Gran Turismo.
After giving all the love to all the fans on the way down, we get to make it back to our friends and family at the pit spot. And let me tell you, if you thought that the vibes were good before the race, you should have seen them after the race. It was electric, you could feel it. The cars parked in random arrangements, everybody piling on each other.
Scary shit. That's the hardest I've ever worked for a single
Really
trip.
unmatched. That's why I say it's just going to be probably never matched from the human emotion standpoint in my lifetime, because it was just extremely powerful.